Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 3 reasons here why Donald Trump is in the best situation of his political career to go out and win a presidential election. Things can change. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I'm not saying that he's not going to have to go out there and work for it. But nonetheless, I think there's 3 main factors, and we'll elaborate on each of them to a different extent. But there are 3 major factors, and possibly some other ones we could talk about as well, that affect this. But this is very, very true. And we're going to be looking at the metrics because there's 3 main reasons. The first one is the data. Because you look at the data, the polling data, which again, it hasn't always been accurate, but usually when it's been inaccurate, it's underestimated Donald Trump. And you could say, well, what about the midterms? Well, the national polls for the midterms were spot on. In fact, they underestimated Republicans. In a lot of places, I do believe that the polls went out there and overestimated Republicans or underestimated Democrats, partially because Donald Trump wasn't on the ballot and they expected an electorate to turn out that would turn out more in favor of the Republicans in places like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, when in reality the state parties there are incompetent, and there's many other reasons why the polls were wrong. And I'm not saying the polls are guaranteed to be right, but you look at the Trump-Biden polls, those consistently outran, in even those states, the polls that were between, let's say, Oz and Fetterman, or even in a state like Georgia, the Herschel Walker polls. Trump always would outrun the supposed candidates that were on the Republican side. So you're looking at the data itself. That's a big factor. And Trump is leading the popular vote now. This is a huge thing, and he's maintained that lead. This is the mugshot bump we're seeing here. Trump was down a couple of points about a month ago. Now where is he up? He is up by almost a point. And I think it's very telling. And the fact is, he's polling at or above 45%, which means he's probably going to get a higher vote share total than he got in either 2016 or 2020. And another factor that I'm not going to say counts towards the 3 is the third party share, because yes, both are unpopular. You could look at the unpopularity of both candidates, and what it shows is that Trump is more popular than Biden. Some do not like either. They're going to have more of a chance at going third party than last time when both candidates had a higher favorable rating. And overall, you're looking at the no labels registrations. Who knows who they're going to run? They could get Manchin. They could get Larry Hogan, somebody big. Or the Green Party, which Cornel West is their star candidate. They're going to get him on as many ballots as they possibly can. That's going to help Republicans because more Democrats disillusioned with Biden, but that don't like Donald Trump, they're going to be voting third party, and that's going to help Donald Trump in this election. But by the way, he has a higher favorable rating than Biden does, and he also has a lower unfavorable rating than Biden does. Meanwhile, you look at somebody like Ron DeSantis, even though his unfavorable rating is lower than Trump's, his favorable rating is also lower. And in the polls where you have near unanimous name recognition for DeSantis, he is polling worse in terms of both than Donald Trump. So you're looking at the data. All the data shows Trump is the strongest candidate, hence why Trump polls better head-to-head against Biden than Ron DeSantis does. But on top of that, Donald Trump is defeating Biden and seems to be poised to have a good shot at winning the 2024 election. And you could say, well, the campaign season hasn't started. Well, it has on the Republican side, and Trump is getting attacked nonstop by all of these other candidates. His unfavorable rating is high right now in part because of soft disapproval from Republicans, which will likely turn into soft, if not strong, approval about next year around this time. So there's that for the data. You're looking at that for the primary. He also leads his primary by almost 50 points now after the latest couple of polls dropped. And on the Democrat side, you could look at that, and Biden's leading by a similar margin over candidates that have zero shot at taking him down. It kind of proves that this election is destined to happen. It will be destined to be a redux of the 2020 election cycle, except this time Biden's approvals have tanked since then, and Trump has taken some time to reflect and change his strategy, which brings us to point number 2. Donald Trump's messaging is improving, and it is much better than his messaging in 2020. And we could take a look at this, for example. You talk about Donald Trump and what is he doing. He's not going to go to the debate that he has really no reason to be there when he's up by over 45 points. He was at 45 or something like that when this was tweeted. Already he's gained a couple of points in the average since then. But you're looking at the general election. Where is it going to be won? It's going to be won mainly by white working class voters in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. What is Trump doing? Instead of pandering to groups that are not going to vote for him, he's going to give a speech to the auto workers who are in Detroit and who are going on strike. And I think he's playing the issue perfectly. He's saying that the UAW's demands are too lofty, which they are, because if you execute all of those demands, you are going to lose jobs, but still, he wants to be pro-worker, not pro-union bosses, and he wants to talk to the workers and maybe strike a deal because Donald Trump is that deal maker. He's been in business for quite some time. He wrote The Art of the Deal. That's kind of his brand, and it's very on brand for him, and it also bolsters the notion that he is pro-worker. He's actually focusing on groups that he can win, like union voters in the Midwest, and that's going to be crucial to his reelection victory. Part of this is also because he's removed bad advisors. A lot of the advisors that held back his 2020 campaign, they are gone, which is a very good thing. And Donald Trump's messaging on all cylinders has improved because of that, which is a very, very good thing. And even on immigration, because people could say, well, Trump didn't fulfill every single promise he made on immigration. Therefore, they're going to say, well, Trump is going to be weak on the issue. First of all, he did a lot on the issue. You had the Remain in Mexico policy. He cut legal immigration in half. He tried to do more. Congress wouldn't exactly let him. But still, now he's saying, regardless of what happens, he is going to take control because you have a new border crisis. He is going to do everything possible to detain and deport the non-citizens in the United States who are older than 14 years old. I'm not sure why they just wouldn't deport everybody. Obviously, especially if you want to keep families together, it would be the humane thing to do. It would be the smart thing to do overall. So when you're looking at this, it's very important that we take care of this border crisis, especially for future election cycles, but also just the economy as a whole. There's so many issues that come with immigration, especially illegal immigration. Not saying that there aren't problems with legal immigration, because there are, but Donald Trump is looking to take care of both issues, and it's very important that you take care of this border crisis first and foremost, and then go from there. And that seems to be what he's focusing on, the return to the immigration focus that he had in 2016. That's also very important. Also, we talk about messaging. Let's say Ron DeSantis is the nominee, or one of these other Republicans that's talking nonstop about a federal abortion ban or whatever. The messaging the Democrats are going to use: Social Security, Medicare, abortion, which they might do to a lesser extent regardless of whoever the Republicans would put up. But nevertheless, Donald Trump makes the issue of abortion a non-issue. He makes the issue of entitlements a non-issue because he is somebody that has effectively played to both sides on the topic. And when Democrats think of Donald Trump, they don't think of, oh, well, he's this guy that's going to go out there and ban abortion or whatever. They're not going to be as enthused to turn out and vote on those issues. Not saying they like Trump. I'm not saying they're not going to find reasons to turn out and vote against Donald Trump. But what I'm saying is Trump kind of throws water on the fire that Republicans are going to have to deal with in the post-Roe era regarding the issue of abortion, because he's smart on the topic. He plays it strategically. He plays it well. He essentially makes it a non-issue so we can focus on other issues like immigration. While he still gets in office, he is still going to be the most pro-life president in policy that we've had in our lifetime. So he's playing it smart. He knows how to resonate with voters, effective messaging. He's not focusing on issues that are possibly going to go out there and alienate some of his own electorate. He's playing to the base that he needs to play to win. You're seeing that with the UAW stuff, and you're also seeing that with his more populist tone overall on economics. He had it in 2016. Didn't exactly have it in 2020. I think that did hold him back a little bit. So the fact that he's pivoting back to where he needs to be is a very, very good thing ahead of 2024. Speaking of 2024, this is the third and final reason why Trump is in the best position he's ever been in politically to win a presidential election. He is embracing the early voting methods. He's embracing ballot harvesting. He's embracing drop boxes, which is very important because Democrats have used these against us for quite some time. And Republicans, and Trump included, by the way, have told voters to vote in person. And then we see what happens when that happens. Democrats who are essentially brain dead end up winning elections, or Democrats who don't even campaign win elections because they have the turnout apparatus, because they know what they're doing. And Republicans in places like Florida, in places like New York, California, they've been doing this, and the Republican returns in all of those states, even though they're not winning California or New York, but they're improving in those states. And Florida is not exactly a competitive state anymore. Not saying that Trump's going to win it by 20 points, but he's probably going to win it by close to 10 in 2024. And I don't really believe that DeSantis would end up doing much better in Florida than Trump would. Both of them have that as their home state, but Trump is somebody whose popularity in Florida has increased, and the state party's extremely competent there. So if more Republicans embrace these tactics, they're going to be more competent as a whole. They're going to go out there. They're going to retake the White House. They're going to retake the Senate. They're going to possibly even hold the House. And it's overall going to be a much better night for Republicans than even 2022 was, despite it being a midterm year where you have an unpopular Democrat president. So either way, you're looking at these three things. This is very key, because if you learn how to play the election system well, you're going to do better. If you have good messaging and better messaging than the GOP at large has, you're going to do better. And when the polls, which have never had you up ever, except for maybe a week in 2016, show you up consistently, the chances are that you are in a very good position to win. I'm not saying they can't be wrong, and I'm not saying that they can't change. I've critiqued polls then. I'll continue to critique polls now. But what I am saying is it shows that he can win, and he's in a very solid position against this president who is not popular. And you look at the economy, it's not exactly doing so well by every metric. And even though you might see unemployment rates low, it doesn't necessarily mean that the wages are increasing. It doesn't necessarily mean that the economy is stable or that it's in a good condition overall. And then you look at what's happening abroad. You look at the foreign policy messes that we're in. We're sending money. We're basically sending a blank check to a proxy war over in Eastern Europe for the UN, and the average voters are fed up with this. They're fed up with it. Biden's approval rating is low for a reason. It's low among Republicans. It's low among independents. And Donald Trump, if he's out there, he's in the public eye, he's on the campaign trail, I think that you will see Trump possibly even continue to improve his numbers. His favorability rating is going to increase between now and the election day. Remember when he did the CNN town hall a few months ago? That was something that a lot of Republicans that were on the non-Trump side were not exactly too fond of, because that's what they're paid to be. They're paid to be anti-Trump. But you look at the polls among the average voters, his favorability rating went up to be like in the mid-40s shortly after that, and eventually it kind of fizzled down. So the more he's in the public eye, and if he's able to make a good impression like he did there, then I think overall he's going to do very, very well in 2024. Still going to have to be something you have to work for, mainly because of how Democrats view the election cycle. They view the election system and they use it to their advantage. But if we're able to use that to our advantage, I think 2024 could be a very good year. But we'll still have to see. We're less than 14 months away, though, so we gotta make sure we get this thing done. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Red Eagle out.